My name is Ethan Cole, and I am 34 years old, and I live in Portland, Oregon, where the rain falls sideways in the winter, and everyone pretends to care about the environment while throwing plastic bottles into recycling bins that are clearly labeled for paper only. I work as a bike mechanic at a shop called Pedal Pushers just off Burnside Street, where the cracked sidewalks are held together by moss and gum, and the people on skateboards weave around dog walkers and food cart tourists like they own the damn city. I live alone above a laundromat that smells like sweat and cheap detergent, and my apartment is small, but it is mine, and I keep it clean and quiet and mostly empty except for my tools and my record collection and the framed photo of my father standing in front of his old Ford pickup the summer before he died. I am not rich and I do not pretend to be, but I have pride, and when someone takes that from me, they do not get it back without a fight. For the last 8 years, I have been rebuilding a 1972 Datsun 240Z one-piece at a time in the abandoned garage behind my building. It was my father's car before he got sick, and he promised me it would be mine when I turned 30. I turned 33 years ago, and by then the car was just a rusted-out shell with no engine and one door, but I got the title and the keys and a box of parts he had saved in a dry place, and that was enough. I have spent every spare dollar and every free hour on that car. I stripped the frame and sandblasted the rust and rewired the entire electrical system and rebuilt the carburetor and installed a new suspension and spent 6 months finding a vintage N42 engine that matched the original specs. I painted it myself in deep midnight blue with a single white racing stripe down the center just like my father had drawn in his notebook. I did not cut corners. I did not rush it. I treated that car like it was a person who had been in a coma, and I was the only one who believed it could wake up and drive again. And now it runs. It runs smooth, and it sounds like thunder when I hit the gas, and the first time I took it out on the highway I cried because I could hear my father laughing in the wind. I kept it hidden because I knew what this town is like. People see something beautiful and they want to destroy it or steal it or make fun of it just for existing. I had tarps and locked chains, and I checked on it every night before bed. I was close to finishing. Just needed new hubcaps and a final polish, and then I was going to enter it in the Portland Classic Car Show where real collectors would see it, and maybe someone would offer me $10,000 for it just for the story alone. Not that I would sell, but it would prove that I had done something right. Then he moved in. His name is Voss. He is 41 years old even though he acts like he is 18. He bought the empty warehouse 2 blocks down and turned it into one of those open-concept live-work lofts with floor-to-ceiling glass and concrete floors and a rooftop yoga deck where people in tight pants scream affirmations at the clouds. He drives a white electric pickup truck with tinted windows and a custom license plate that says ECOBOSS. He wears flannel shirts that cost more than my monthly rent and talks about blockchain and disruption and vertical integration like they mean something real. He showed up at Pedal Pushers one Tuesday afternoon on a $1,000 electric cargo bike and asked if I could adjust the tension on the chain. I did it in 3 minutes and charged him $25 even though it should have been $15 because I could tell he would not care. As I handed him back his receipt, he looked at my grease-stained hands and said, "You should really consider retraining for something in tech. The future is code, not carburetors." I almost threw his bike into the street, but I did not. I smiled and said thanks for the advice, and he rode off like he had just saved my life. The first real problem started a month later. I was walking home from the shop around 9 at night when I saw something wrong. A strip of yellow caution tape was tied around the gate to my garage. The padlock was gone. The door was cracked open. My heart stopped. I ran over and shoved it wide and flicked on my flashlight, and there it was, the car still there, but the hood was up. The air filter was missing. The distributor cap was loose. My toolbox had been pawed through, screwdrivers on the floor, wrenches missing. Someone had been inside and they had touched my car. I called the police. They came, took notes, said it was likely kids. Vandalism is common in this neighborhood, they said. Put up a camera, file a report. They left. I installed 2 motion sensor cameras the next day. One aimed at the gate, one inside the garage pointing at the car. I tripled the locks, added a car alarm with a motion trigger. I checked the footage every morning. For 2 weeks, nothing. Then on the 17th night I saw it. Derek, he was wearing a black hoodie and gloves. He used a bolt cutter to snip the chain, climbed over the fence. Went straight to the car, pulled out a small flashlight and popped the hood. I watched him take the air filter and put it in his backpack. Then he unscrewed the distributor cap and took that too. Then he opened my toolbox and grabbed a 3/8-inch wrench and a spark plug socket and left, all in under 4 minutes, clean, silent, confident. I sat in front of my laptop for 2 hours staring at the video. My hands would not stop shaking. It was not just theft, it was violation. That car was sacred to me. Every piece had been chosen, every bolt turned by my hand, and he had just treated it like a parts bin, like I was nothing. I went to his warehouse the next morning. It was 9:30. The front door was open. He was sitting at a glass desk drinking matcha out of a ceramic bowl. I walked in and said, "You broke into my garage last night." He looked up slowly. "I do not know what you're talking about. I have video. I will go to the police. I will press charges." He smiled. You have video of me walking into a public alley. That is not breaking and entering. It is a private lot, my private lot. You cut the lock. I did not see any lock. You stole parts from my car, your car, that rust bucket. I was doing you a favor. That thing is a fire hazard. It does not even meet emissions standards. You should junk it before it kills someone. I want my parts back. If you find them, you can have them. But I suggest you let this go. It is not your world anymore, Ethan. The future is electric, lightweight, smart. Your kind is obsolete. I stared at him. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to flip his desk and break his face, but I did not. I turned and walked out. That was the moment I decided he would pay. I did not go to the police. Not yet. I knew they would say I had no proof he took the parts. He had not been caught on camera with them. He could always say he found them on the ground. I needed more, so I set a trap. I called a junkyard in Seattle and bought a used but working 1972Z distributor cap. I cleaned it up and painted the tip so it looked new. Then I wrapped it in a plastic bag and taped it under the hood of my car. I left the garage door open just a crack and disabled the alarm for one night. The next evening I checked the cameras. He came at 1 a.m, hoodie, gloves, bolt cutter. He went right to the car, lifted the hood, reached under, found the distributor cap. Stopped, looked around, smiled, put it in his backpack. Left. I had him. I burned the footage to a DVD and made a copy. I wrote down everything, the dates, the times, the serial numbers of the missing tools. I went to a law firm in downtown Portland that specializes in property crimes and met with a woman named Renee Walsh. She was 50 with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled into a tight bun. She watched the video once and said, "We can take this criminal to court. He is stealing auto parts to build his own vintage car, probably wants to flip it for profit. Classic narcissist move. Thinks he is too smart to get caught." I said, "I do not want money. I want him to suffer." She said, "You do not need to suffer to lose in court. Just be patient. File the report. Let the system work." So I did. I went to the police station with the DVD and the report. Gave it to the detective on duty. He took it seriously. Said they would issue a warrant for Derek Voss for illegal trespassing and grand theft auto parts. They would search his warehouse, seize everything. I felt good. For the first time in weeks I slept through the night, but then nothing happened. I called the detective every day. He kept saying it is in process. The DA is reviewing. We are building the case. 2 weeks passed, 3. Then on a rainy Thursday I walked past the warehouse and saw something that made me freeze. Outside the loading dock there sat the frame of a car. Painted midnight blue, a single white racing stripe. My color, my stripe. I got closer. My blood turned cold. He was building it. He was building my car using my parts, the distributor cap, the air filter, the wrenches, the spark plug socket. He had bought a shell from somewhere, a junkyard or a Craigslist ad, and he was reassembling it piece by piece using what he had stolen from me. The same engine type, the same trim, the same wheels. He was not just stealing, he was copying. He was claiming my work as his own, and worse, on the wall inside the warehouse where the glass was clear I could see a printout taped up. A flyer for the Portland Classic Car Show, my show, and on it someone had written in red marker, "First place DERK VOSS 1972 DATSUN 240Z" with a little star drawn next to it. He was not just building the car, he was going to enter it, he was going to win. He was going to stand on that stage with my father's design and my labor and my soul and take the trophy and the applause and the photos and act like he had earned it. I stood there in the rain breathing hard. That was when I knew the police would not be enough. The court case would take months, maybe years. By then the car show would be over. He would have already stolen my victory. And even if he lost in court, what good would that do me then? I needed to stop him before he could step on that stage. I needed to ruin him, not just legally, not just financially. I needed to destroy his pride, his reputation, his ego, the thing he cared about most. So I changed my plan. I stopped calling the police. I stopped thinking about court. I started thinking like him. He wanted attention. He wanted to be seen. He wanted to be the hero of his own story, so I would give him a story. One he would never forget. I went back to my apartment and pulled out my father's old notebook. All his notes on the car, the engine specs, the paint code, the tire pressure, the alignment numbers, every detail. I scanned it. Then I made something new. I created a fake website. I called it Vintage Z Legacy.com. I made it look real. Old school design, grainy photos, a bio section. I wrote a story about a man named Thomas Cole who was a mechanic in Portland in the 1970s who hand-built a perfect 240Z and raced it up the Pacific coast and won trophies and inspired a generation. I included photoshopped images of a man who looked like my father standing next to the car in different cities: San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver. I added fake forum posts from classic car fans talking about how legendary the car was, how rare, how only one was ever made. Then I added a section called The Lost Heirloom. It said that Thomas Cole died in 1985. His only son raised the story and kept the car hidden for decades to honor his father's wishes. Now at last the son is ready to unveil the original 1972 Datsun 240Z at the Portland Classic Car Show. The true one, the real one, the legend reborn. I posted it online, made a Facebook page, an Instagram account, a Twitter account. Posted in 5 classic car forums with links to the website. Wrote emotional comments about lost heritage and father-son bonds and the revival of analog craftsmanship in a digital world. Within 2 days, the website had over 7,000 visitors. By the end of the week, car blogs were writing about it. A local news site ran a feature called Local Mechanic to unveil legendary Datsun at car show this weekend. They quoted me as saying my father built this car with his heart. I rebuilt it with mine. It is not just metal and rubber, it is memory. Derek could not ignore it. I saw him that Friday at the coffee shop across from his warehouse. He was sitting with two other tech guys and they were all looking at tablets and laughing. Then one of them said, "No way, that car is legendary. They are saying it sold for 60,000 in Japan." Derek frowned. He pulled out his phone, did a search. His face changed. He stood up and walked away fast. I followed him on foot. He went back to the warehouse, called a tow truck, had a mechanic come in. They worked all night. I watched on my camera. He was rushing, finishing the car, sanding, polishing, installing chrome trim. He even painted his name on the side in cursive gold letters DERKVOSS instead of the initials EZ that I had planned to use. He was not just entering the show. He was claiming the car as his masterpiece. Meanwhile, I finished my real car. I did the final polish, installed the hubcaps. Cleaned every inch. I covered it with a black velvet tarp and locked the garage. I waited. The day of the car show, I arrived at noon. It was being held in Tom McCall Waterfront Park. Long rows of vintage cars under white tents, reporters, judges, crowds with phones out taking photos. I pulled in slowly with the Datsun hidden under the tarp on a trailer behind my pickup truck. I parked in the competitor zone and waited for Derek. He showed up at 1. He drove his electric truck pulling a shiny red trailer. On it sat his fake Z paint gleaming, tires puffed, lights bright. He hopped out like a celebrity in skinny jeans and a leather jacket and started shaking hands with the judges and the media. I saw the flyer taped to the trailer wall. First place DERKVOSS. I stayed quiet. I signed in, uncovered my car. The difference was instant. People walking by stopped. A woman gasped. A man said, "No frigging way. That is the real one." Another said, "I read about this. This is the legacy car." Word spread fast. Within 10 minutes, there were 20 people around my car taking photos. A reporter from the Oregonian asked for an interview. I told him the whole story, about my father, about rebuilding it, about keeping it secret. He took notes and said, "This is front page stuff." Derek saw it. He came over, smiling but tight. "What is this?" "This is my father's car, the real one. You have a car too. Lots of people have these." "This is the one, the only one he ever built, the one he designed, the one I completed." People listened. One man said, "I read about this online, the vintage Z legacy." "That is you." "Yes." Derek laughed. "That website, that is fake. Some kid made that. I have been working on this car for years. This is real craftsmanship. So why does it smell like stolen parts?" I said, "What? I filed a police report. You broke into my garage, took my air filter, my distributor cap, my tools. You used them on this car." "Lies. You are just jealous." "Then why do your frame numbers not match the VIN?" I said, "Every real 1972 Z has a unique stamp here behind the wheel." "Well, you did not know that, so you bought a junk frame and called it yours." He turned pale. A judge walked over, heard the exchange, asked to see both VIN numbers. We went to my car first. Clean, original stamp, matched the title, then to his. The judge crouched, looked, said, "There is no stamp here. Just a smooth patch of paint." He ran his fingers over it. "This has been covered up. This frame has been altered." Derek said, "My car is perfect. It drives. It looks good. That is what matters." One of the tech guys with him spoke. "Dude, the website, the articles. People are calling it the only true 1972 Pacific Coast Z. It is viral." A reporter from KGW News arrived. Camera crew. They started filming. Asked me to repeat the story. I did. By the time I finished, a crowd had gathered. 50 people, then 100. The host came on the loudspeaker and said, "Due to unforeseen circumstances, the judging has been delayed. Please gather at stage 2 for a special announcement." We were called up, me, Derek, the head judge, 2 reporters. The judge spoke first. "We have reason to believe one of the entries in the 1972 Datsun 240Z category has been misrepresented. The car entered by Mr. Derek Voss does not have an original frame stamp. The VIN does not match any registered vehicle from that year. Furthermore, we have a police report alleging theft of auto parts and illegal possession of tools and components." Derek started talking. "I built this car. I own every piece. I did not steal anything. This is slander." The judge said, "We are not finished. Also have the entry by Ethan Cole, which includes verified original documentation from the 1970s. A handwritten notebook, factory paint codes, witness testimony from a former Datsun dealer, and a digital trail from a dedicated website that has been active for 7 days with over 50,000 views." Then the reporter asked me, "Is it true your father built this car?" "Yes. And I finished it." And she turned to Derek, "How do you respond to the theft allegations?" "I have nothing to say." "This is ridiculous," the host stepped in. "Given the evidence and the pending police investigation, we are disqualifying the entry by Derek Voss. Furthermore, we are awarding the People's Choice Award and the Best of Show trophy to Ethan Cole for the restoration of the original 1972 Datsun 240Z known as the Portland Legacy car." The crowd erupted. I did not expect that. I stood there as they handed me a large silver trophy and a check for $5,000, and the flashbulbs popped and people clapped and someone yelled, "That is what you get for stealing." Derek did not wait. He turned and walked away fast, dropped his clipboard, left his jacket, got into his truck and drove off with the fake car still on the trailer. I thought that was the end, but it was not. 2 days later, the police raided his warehouse. They found the stolen tools, my air filter, the distributor cap, and 4 more vintage car parts from other people. Turns out he had been hitting 3 other garages in the city. He was arrested, charged with multiple counts of theft and fraud. His warehouse was shut down by the city for code violations. The electric truck was repossessed because he had not made a payment in 8 months. And the final twist, the website I made, it was still live. And someone in Japan saw it, a collector, offered $125,000 for the car. Said it was the same specs as a car that won a race in Hiroshima in 1974 that was never seen again. He believed the story I did not sell, but I did keep the website up, and every week I add a new story about the car being restored in secret, about it being driven at dawn through the Columbia River Gorge, about the ghost of a mechanic seen near it on foggy nights, and I changed the domain. Now it is Derek Voss is a thief, calm, and I mailed him a postcard with the link. Signed it, your biggest fan. I still work at Pedal Pushers, still live above the laundromat, still keep my garage locked. But when it rains now, I sometimes drive the Z down to the waterfront, park near the spot where I won, sit on the hood, listen to the engine cool down, and I think about my father, and I know he is proud, because I did not just protect his car, I defended his name, and I made sure the man who tried to steal it could never show his face in Portland again.